Hi, this is Cosmic Mike here from peachvitamins.com, and today we'll be talking about intermittent fasting. What is intermittent fasting? What to expect? Who can do it? And this is a two-part series. Well, in the second one, I'll be talking about what you can do or take with it, and of course, how to do it and what are the timings. But before we start, our goal and our mission at Cosmic Mike Show is to bring perfect health by balancing the three pillars: mind, body, spirit. And of course, our disclaimer: I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just for education and for your awareness. And of course, in the cosmos we trust. Let's go. So let's take a look at what is fasting. First thing that comes to my mind is Rumi's quote, where he mentioned the first principle of medicine is fasting. And you should fast and see and feel the strength of the spirit reveal itself. Meaning basically that's what our ancestors did, and that's what all these religions called for fasting, where it gave the body a chance to repair itself, where it gave the body a chance to cleanse. As you notice in the religions, most of these cleansings are done with rituals or these special holidays, which really happens after winter in the springtime, which is the ideal time to cleanse the system of all the stagnation that came with the winter, with dryness and hibernation, where the body was storing all the nutrients for later use. So the time, of course, is the best time to do it would be getting into the summer, just before summer. And understanding that fasting is really not about skipping meals. It's more about having the meals between a certain amount of period, where 6 to 8 hours having your meals, and then waiting to maybe 10, 12, 14 or 16 hours for the next meal. Just like if you were to eat your dinner at 7 p.m. and waiting till 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 12 noon the next day before eating. So it's just extending the period of time between those two meals. And of course, by doing this, what you're doing is sustaining your blood sugar, where you're not grazing all along, and you're preventing that spike of insulin that happens while we graze. Even having a small biscuit or even having a small snack creates that insulin, and once that insulin spikes, if does the muscles or anything else is not used up the sugar in the body, it will deposit that as fat. So the goal should not be eating grazing all throughout the day, but basically eating when you're hungry, eating your breakfast, eating your lunch, and eating your dinner at the same time, which is very important. Now, eating at the same time, I mean by eating at the same time every day, meaning having your breakfast at a certain time in the morning, having your lunch at a certain time in the morning, and having your dinner at a certain time in the morning. Because your body has to get used to what it expects. Means the brain starts secreting saliva and starts secreting those stomach acids at that particular time, and when you're ready to eat, your food is being digested purely. And what we run into because of our daily lives or our modern life, where people are eating haphazardly different times of the day, the body or the brain doesn't really understand, is this breakfast, is this lunch, is this dinner, when is the food coming, when it's not coming. So it's just haphazard, and there could be a whole lot of issues comes because of that. Weight gain, constipation, it could be diarrhea also, lack of digestion, gas, bloating. So when you give the body a certain time every day, it knows, hey, I'm going to expect some food, I'm going to expect some nutrients, I better start secreting some stomach acid, I better start secreting those enzymes. So it's very crucial that we eat at the same time every day, depending whatever time you start eating your breakfast, whatever time you eat your lunch, and whatever time you eat your dinner. And eating only when we are hungry makes sure that the insulin is spiked only at those hours, every 3 or 4 or 5 hours, where the body uses, or the brain of course uses all that glucose, or your muscles use all that glucose or the insulin, and is taken to the muscles, and less fat is deposited. So it's very essential to understand and follow that. Now let's take a look at what to expect when or doing fasting. Of course, like we mentioned, fasting will lower or control your blood sugar, hence weight loss or control your weight. Energy, you will have more energy, physical and mental, of course, because the body is efficiently using its resources and bringing that, or turning that into glucose and helping the brain think better and do tasks better. So more focus in the day, more energy, of course, lack of less bloating and gas. The digestive juice are stronger, so when you're eating, they are breaking those things down properly. And of course, weight loss, lipid levels, where your cholesterol levels can be lowered, your blood pressure levels can be lowered. Great for diabetics, of course, understanding when controlling that blood sugar or that insulin outtake, helping the diabetes, helping cholesterol, lipid levels, or triglycerides. Somebody who has high triglycerides, but by just managing that fasting or having a fast done every few weeks can help with a lot of that. And of course, all this turns into anti-aging, because less oxidation, less the body has to break tissue down or break nutrient down to produce or to absorb. So anti-aging would be one of those best results for regular fasting. Of course, remember, when the body is not digesting, it's repairing. So just imagine when you're sleeping, what is the body doing? Well, it's trying to repair. But if you just ate that whole bowl of rice just an hour ago, then guess what? What it's doing is just using the resources to digest that bowl of rice. And because you're not moving, where do you think that insulin is going? Now the insulin is spiked, the sugar is spiked, it's all getting deposited. Of course, especially in the stomach area, it's all getting deposited as fat. So it's very essential to have your meals much before you're ready to sleep. And of course, making sure that the body has enough ample time to repair itself. Remember, we are building new blood cells, new organs, and new tissues every few weeks or every few months. But we have to give this body and this cosmic, to really do its work, its magical work. And that's where fasting comes in, where we are forced, in the religion aspect of it, we are forced to do those certain days where the body is helping itself recover, helping itself repair, because it doesn't have food to digest. And a lot of positive results, which we will talk about and go through that list soon. But this is what we are trying to do. This is what you're doing with fasting. You're controlling that blood sugar, so you're controlling those resources, so those resources can go out there and start repairing other things, other food, or other protein or amino acids that are all over the system, in your joints and in the blood, where they're not digested, or dead tissues. This way the body goes out there and spends its resources on those things and starts breaking them down, and thus preventing a lot of those diseases that are chronic and that affect us in a 4 or 5 year period. Now let's take a look at who can do it and who should not be doing it. Remember, in the old days when they were fasting, they were not active as what we are. Society was not as active as what we are at this point in time in our life, in this era, where we have a lot of computers, where we have a lot of technology, cars, we're moving, we're exercising a lot more, of course, and a lot in our minds, more stressful environment. So in those days when a fast was required, they were more stationary, they were more resting at home. And of course, they were taking more benefit of that rest, where they were repairing. Nowadays, we still have to go to our work. We still have to drive out there. We still are playing sports. So understanding that a person whose life demands a lot of physical activity maybe should be wondering if they should be doing fasting or not, or do a skimp version of fasting, or reduce their calorie intake to maximize the benefit. But adults, of course, and kids under 15, I wouldn't recommend unless they're very much overweight. But under 15, I would not recommend kids doing intermittent fasting. When you're pregnant, of course, we do not want to do any kind of fasting as such. And when the female is having, or the girls are having their menstrual cycle, it's also very overwhelming for the system. And you shouldn't be doing any kind of fasting or cleansing at that moment in time of the month. For women, it's a lot of estrogen, hormonal, pregnenolone, estradiol changes. For men, is not as much. So you got to weigh and see where you are in your life, where you are in your day. You're not traveling. You're able to kind of chill your activity down for a few days, or you're able to rest for a few days. And in the next episode, we'll look at exactly what to have, what not to have, and how exactly to. So please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified on another episode of intermittent fasting, where I'll talk about what exactly to do, when to do it. So thank you so much. This is Cosmic Mike. Until the next time.